Another open tabs at trainingsites.io, and let's take a look at why I've got some open tabs today and which ones I have open. Now, if you haven't been to these before, what I've been doing is just going to my open tabs the day before, taking a look at which ones I had open, because I tend to have a lot of them open on a lot of different windows, and take a look at the services and the tools that I've been using and or researching, and more importantly, why I might have had them open, or some of the things you should think about when you're looking at these tools or for these tools and services. So what do we want to look at today? I've got three kind of services, and I've got one story to tell you, and I think I'll tell you that story up front because it relates to a tool. One of the things that we provide for people who are building online campuses, online courses, building out their training site and education business is we provide managed hosting with it. And we have our own servers that we use, and we set up people's campuses with all the software tools, everything they need to actually create and build their online training business so they don't have to worry about the technology stuff. And one of the things that happens, of course, is that you end up having a lot of valuable information in your hosting account and in your hosting service. And you've got a number of different choices when you're backing up those services. Now, just to give you an example, if you were using one of the tools that we have as well, is we have one, for example, called SiteGround, which is a hosting service. Most of the other ones are similar. But when you have a managed hosting service, like one of the traditional ones, they have a built-in backup system, and you go, wow, that's great. I don't have to worry about backups on my WordPress site. They're all taken care of. All I need to do is just do my stuff and I'll be taken care of. And that is true, but I want you to take a look at something. If we're looking at my backups here on this particular example, you'll see today's March 5th, 8:19 a.m. there was a backup. The previous backup was 24 hours ago. And you go, wow, that's perfect. Everything I need is all taken care of. I don't really have to worry about too much because I've got a daily backup that's being taken care of. Now, there's a small problem with that, and I'm going to show it to you in a second. This happened to me recently, so it can happen, and you have to be really careful. When you're working on your WordPress site, and for example, you have your CRM on your WordPress site, which we do on a couple of our particular sites, or you have your courses on your WordPress site. You're not using a third-party service for it. You're in a position there where you're going, okay, I want to keep my all my content on my site. I don't want to have my courses on one service, my CRM and email marketing automation in another service, my hosting on another service, my billing on it. You want to keep it consolidated, right? It's all on my WordPress site. That's a great idea. However, you've got to be really careful if you're going to do that. And here's the reason why. We were cleaning up our database on our CRMs, getting rid of some bounced emails, ones that perhaps had spam accounts, that kind of thing, that had registered or tried to opt in or done something along those lines. We're just cleaning up our database. And one of the things that, and I did this personally, one of the things that we did is I found one of a bad contact record and I deleted it. And there was a double check in it that says, a double confirmation. Do you really want to do this? And I clicked yes and deleted it. The problem is I had actually selected the record below the one that I wanted to get rid of. And when I clicked delete, I removed an active customer from the database. Now, you go, wow, that's not a good idea, is it? They're gone from the database. They're removed. WordPress took care of it. It's not as if it was a third-party service where, they may keep a year or months of incremental backup data that you can go and restore. I deleted this myself. It was on my WordPress site. Huge mistake. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you have these traditional services that I was just showing you at, for example, the one that we just looked at, which was the one with SiteGround, I can only restore the database from 24 hours ago, which is not a really, really good place to be. However, if you're using your WordPress site, what you want to do is make sure that you use a tool like this one here, which is called Updraft Plus. Now, there's a number of WordPress plugins that are available. You have to pick one of them. I highly suggest that you do this over and above your hosting service. There's two reasons. One of them is that you can actually go and save the backups to offsite storage like Amazon or Google Drive or any of the large storage networks. You have the ability to not keep it on your server, but keep a backup completely away from your hosting service. So that's completely separate. You have that, it's offsite. So if there's a catastrophic failure on your server or wherever it happens to be stored, you always have a backup of it. That's the first thing. The second thing, and this is the really important one, you can set the increments or the time spaces between the backups. Now, why is this important? Think about it. When I was looking at my site tools here, I have 24 hours. So if I wanted to go back and restore that customer as an example, and I went back to take a look at them, I'm in a position where I could only go back 24 hours to get that contact back. So I would have lost the 23 hours and 59 minutes of work that I had done that day to get back to the restore point. So anything that happened after the 24 hours, I would have lost, which would have been a really, really bad situation. However, if you use a tool, for example, like Updraft Plus, and again, there's a whole bunch of them. If you go to updraftplus.com, you'll see that there's a number of other ones mentioned, like VaultPress. Backup Buddy is another one that you'll hear quite a bit mentioned. But there's all sorts of settings that are over and above the traditional hosting ones. And I'll show you a quick one right now. Here we go. So here's an example, and this is the important one that you need to think about. If you have a files backup schedule, which is daily, and this one, just to show you where it is, you have a database backup schedule. So in this case, I wanted to be able to make sure that I can do every hour on the backups of the database. And this is important because if you are making entries in and out of your WordPress database, not changing the site, but actually interacting with the site, adding courses, having a community or a campus, sending out emails, using your CRM, this is set up so that I can have an incremental backup of my database every hour on the hour and keep it, in this case, for 14 days. And what that means is that I was able to go back an hour and only lose 59 minutes of work as opposed to losing a whole day of work. So that was one of the tabs we had open. The reason it was open, of course, is because I personally made a mistake and I was able, because we had Updraft Plus installed and active for the database on the hour, I was able to go back and save or restore that database with the information that was there. So just make sure when you've got your campus set up, you're building your site out, I recommend that you have a WordPress plugin over and above the hosting plugin that's providing backups for you. So that's one of them that was kind of open. I'm going to show you, let me do one other one because it's hosting related. Every morning I get up and I watch new YouTube videos just to find out what's happening in the industry, in the space. And there's one gentleman I'm subscribed to, and I can't remember the name of his actual channel, but his name is Mac. He's out of the UK, and he usually has some pretty cool tools that come up. He's a big Divi fan, which is a page builder similar to Elementor. So he's got that one that he likes, and he was talking yesterday about this one called FlyWP. Now, why is this one interesting? One of the things that happens is we have our own dedicated servers that are servers for our clients, but one of the things we've also started to do is to use the large tools like Amazon, for example, and the Amazon hosting services, not the storage services, but the actual infrastructure that they have for hosting websites. And there wasn't really a great tool that allowed us to roll out sites based on the storage of more than just a static server, but be able to have the opportunity to grow as the resources increased or needed for the site. And I'll give you an example of why that's important. We had the My Pickleball Friends site, which is a Buddy Boss site. It's a campus. We've got people joining as members of this site. It's a lot of moving pieces, but also it's growing quickly. And that means if we have it on a static server, at some point the server runs out. There's just physically not enough room on that server, and there's not an easy way for it to continue to grow. So if you're building a training site, a campus, you're building out of things with community and large users, And you may need storage, which is fine, but I'm talking about the actual CPUs, the actual strength of the server. What this tool does is it allows you to have your WordPress site on a server platform that grows as you need it. And that could be storage, but it also can be the amount of memory and the amount of computing power that the actual hosting platform has. And it's variable. So you can go from almost 0 to 1,000 miles an hour, whichever you need, and you don't have to do a block and then stop and repurpose another server and repurpose another service. So it's just a smart way of doing that. And that one's called flywp.com. And you can see they have, for example, on this one, if we go monthly, you can see it's $9 a month. You got one server, unlimited sites. So that means you have one actual server on Amazon, for example. They have a number of different platforms that they support, but you can have site installed, run up, spun up very, very quickly, and it has this unlimited growth potential in terms of the infrastructure. So if you're serious about that and you're building campuses and you know, for example, that you are going to have a lot of need for storage and or for the ability to have a strong server or a stronger server as your community and your campus and your courses grow, this is a really good idea to look at that one. So this is one we're evaluating right now. We don't have any servers provisioned on here, but it's something that I'm going to be looking at moving forward as we build out campuses. And again, you have to remember that this is just an interface to Amazon or some of the other ones that are available. I'm just going to go and let me see the ones that are that they have. Yeah, so there's Amazon, what is it, Volt, I think Vultr is the way that they have. I'm trying to remember the name. Yeah, Amazon, Akamai, Vultr, DigitalOcean are the other ones. So these are web services that actually host your account. This is just an interface to that provisions it and allows it to scale up and down as you need it. So that's kind of an interesting one. I don't know if there is another one for WordPress specifically that I know of, but this one is a cool one that I ran into. OpenTab, take a look at it if it's something that is interesting to you. Now I'm going to show you one other one right now, and this one is called Folk.app. And why is this one important? When you are building out your campus, your training site, I'm a big fan of trying to keep everything in-house. However, having said that, it may not be a great fit for you. You may want to have a third-party service. And in fact, we're a reseller for ActiveCampaign, which is a CRM, customer relationship management software and application that does email automation, that does keep track of the deals that you're working on, that kind of thing. And it's a third-party platform for doing that. They're having all sorts of troubles right now, which is a whole other story, but that's a third-party service that you can use. I try and keep it in-house so that we have it on our own server. It's tightly integrated with the help desk and all of the other pieces, moving pieces that we have in our campuses, but you may want to spin it out and have it as a third-party service. Now, the reason I ran into this one, it's kind of interesting, we'll just take a quick look at it here, is make sure I'm on the home page there. Yeah. So the one that's interesting here is that if I'm going to be doing training and it's more business to business or corporate training as opposed to selling courses to individuals and or having individuals who are purchasing courses or becoming part of a community or subscription site, that is one kind of type of CRM that you want. On the other hand, if you're doing it to business, you want to make sure that you have tight integrations, for example, for LinkedIn and some of the other business to business social media platforms that ActiveCampaign may not be able to bring you. This one caught my eye because the thing that was kind of cool to me is this, again, third-party service similar to ActiveCampaign or some of the CRM tools that you'll find like HubSpot and Copper and some of the other ones. This one is kind of neat because it does have a number of extensions, and the one that caught my eye, let me just do this one, see if we can get it to open up. Where's products? Integrations, yeah. This is the one that was interesting to me, is that all of the Gmail, Google Contacts, all that stuff is there. However, the ones that were really cool is Sales Navigator Chrome extension. So this has a real tight a real tight integration with Sales Navigator, which is the paid LinkedIn account that allows you to pull or scrape a set number of active contacts that you've either started to interact with or wanted to interact with, or filtered as potential customers or clients for your business. And this allows you to remove them from Sales Navigator and bring them in to a proper CRM. They've done the same thing here for LinkedIn, the regular one. So one-click imports of profiles directly from LinkedIn, one-click imports of profiles directly from Sales Navigator. So they've done a really good job of integrating B2B kind of tools and making it available, whether it be Google Calendar, Outlook, or your Gmail, or stuff that you're doing as a business person, and bringing it into the CRM. This one's relatively inexpensive as well, so you can get started for $18 or $24 if you're doing a month. Unlimited contacts, bulk emailing, all of the stuff that you would expect being able to build out and manage your business from a particular tool. So this is one that I did find kind of interesting, folk.app. Go take a look at that one. And before I end, I want to share something that I've been running into just with CRMs, because if you haven't heard of one, there's a CRM that is able to be white labeled, and it's called High Level. So I think it's gohighlevel.com is the actual URL for it. And Go High Level, my understanding of it is that it was designed specifically around the funnels and the automation templates that were specific to more retail businesses. So if someone was a dentist or a physiotherapist or a salesman of some service, for example, but a retail one, they still do, they have some really, really great funnels and structured profile management in their CRM, but it was more for at least it started off more for retail types of businesses. And they have a whole infrastructure, really cool setup, and it's a CRM business in one basic setup. Now, the thing that's for that one that's interesting for you as a business person, specifically you're building out a training site, or you want to build out an online campus, or you want to use an LMS, that tool, they're trying to put all of that in that one platform, right? But what I found is that you're going to see, or I have been starting to see, a number of white labeled versions of Go High Level for people who are doing coaching or services or any of these agency businesses or building learning sites. So if you see an interesting name and you go, wow, that's kind of a new one, I suggest that you make sure that you take a look under the hood and see what it actually is. And if you don't know how to do that, that's time for another one, but you can view the source of any web page and you'll get an indication of what the infrastructure or what is behind it. And you may have done that with a WordPress site to see, for example, what plugins or someone are using, but you can do the same thing with a third-party service or any web page that you look at to see what's actually underneath the hood. And a lot of these ones that have different names are white label versions of Go High Level. And just be very careful, because it's not because it's not good, it's just you have to make sure that you understand what you're getting into beforehand. Is it a third-party service CRM I want to use? Is it one that I want to be in control of the data, have backups on, and have more connected to my WordPress site in this case, or am I putting all the things together? So a lot of moving pieces. Those are the kind of ones that I wanted to share with today. I'm sure I'm going to have another bunch of them tomorrow, because there's always new tabs and new tools available. So hopefully you've had a chance to think about that. Folk.app, updraftplus.com, FlyWP, and lots of great information there. So hopefully you enjoy it. And before I leave, just make sure you do backups and you have it set hourly for a database if you are in fact keeping stuff on your WordPress site. Don't learn the hard way. Make sure that you've got it set up on a regular basis. Take care. Expect the best. This is James. Let's click finish and we'll end it there.